Welcome to this evening's webinar. This webinar is Meet These Fabulous Donor-Recipient Duo, New Friends Through the Gift of Life. And today we have with us Jordan Regina and we have Jill Ralke. Did I say that right, Jill?
Yeah, you did.
Awesome. Okay, so a little bit about Jordan is she is 24, originally from Alabama, but moved to California for school and loved it, so she stayed there. And I'm going to let her tell more about her story. And Jill is from Los Angeles, California, and she's going to tell us about her story and what brought her to needing a kidney donation and how she met Jordan. We just wanted to welcome you. This webinar is put on by Lifebulb, and the Lifebulb is the umbrella company for Transplant Life. We have a full forum at Transplant Life where we can continue the conversation after the webinar, and you'll be able to see where the webinar replay is going to be held. So without further ado, we are going to let Jill and Jordan shine tonight and hear their story. So Jill, can you please share your story of what brought you to know that you needed a kidney transplant?
Of course. So I've always, well, in 2015, I found out that I had kidney disease just from a basic physical. Just went to the doctor and they did the whole thing. And then they noticed that I had a lot of protein in the urine, and they did all the testing, and they said I need a kidney biopsy, and I did that. And then they said I had a kidney disease called Alport syndrome. And so I didn't really know what that meant. And back then, like, I was in college, and so I just, like I said, just keep monitoring it and you'll be fine. So I went off to college and just lived my life, and everything was stable and, was in fine condition. I think my GFR was in stage 3. So I was fine. And then around 2019, I think the doctors were saying that the levels were not looking great. So I kind of needed to go more often to get checkups, and they were noticing that it was dropping a lot, faster than they were expecting. And I was just like, what do I do about this? And they're like, just keep, all I was on was blood pressure medicine. And I kind of wish that I researched more about what I had and what I could have done to prevent it from, accelerating as fast as it did. But there wasn't much that they told me about what I could have done. So I just really didn't think, I wasn't just smart about it. And it wasn't until I think 2020, I think it was 2020, they told me that my levels were so low that I should start thinking about transplant. And I was I just never thought that that was going to be something that I would need. I mean, I knew I was going to need it eventually, but not at the age I was at. They said I would need a transplant eventually, maybe in my 60s, 50s even, but not in my 20s. I was 25 when I heard this news. I was just very scared, or 26. I don't remember the exact age, but and then 2021 came, and I had to go on dialysis because they couldn't wait for me to look for a donor. I was looking for a donor, and they just said my levels were too low and I had to go on dialysis. And so kind of that's how I found out that I needed a transplant, just because, yeah, they just declined way too fast. And there was just nothing I could have done. And I think I was just not really, I was taking the medication. That's what they told me to do. And that's all that I could have done. And yeah. And then what was the next question?
Well, it's interesting. Alport syndrome, I don't know that a lot of people are familiar with it. Do you mind telling people a little bit about Alport syndrome?
Yeah, it's a rare genetic condition. It usually is worse in males, but obviously females can get it too. And it's not super common for it to be progressive in females as fast as it is. And when it is, it's just unfortunate. And it can affect your hearing, and it can affect your eyesight, and it can affect a bunch of different things. My sister also has it, and she's fine. She's doing great. But it's just a rare thing, a rare condition. And It usually comes from one of your parents having the gene and passing it down. They don't necessarily have to have the actual disease. So yeah, that's where it came from.
Yeah. And so because of that, could you kind of share about why you couldn't get a kidney from a family member?
Yeah. So my mom couldn't donate because they think that she was the carrier. Oh no. And then my sister can donate because she has it. And then so that was like my direct family members, like obviously couldn't help me donate. And those were kind of like my best options. And I had some aunts and uncles, but they've had like history of like cancers in the past. So that's automatically wipes you out from being able to donate.
Yeah. And so when you found out that family members weren't able to get tested, how did you start to share your story for people to start getting tested so you could have a donor?
Yeah. So I am a bit like big into social media. So I like went straight to the source that I felt comfortable with. And I decided to like film a video of myself talking just about my disease and about, a lot of people didn't know that I had kidney disease just because I never talked about it. And I still lived a my normal life. And you couldn't tell I was ever, by looking at me, you would never know I had kidney disease. Like I just didn't talk about it. So I just talked, like was open and honest and just talked freely and posted on my Instagram and Facebook. And a lot of people were really receptive to that. And I just shared that I was looking for a kidney donor and shared the information. And, it was really nerve wracking because it is weird to like post on social media that you're looking for a kidney donor. I mean, obviously I wasn't saying like, I would love for someone to give me a kidney. I feel like that's the wording is weird. So I just was trying to be as vulnerable and not vulnerable, but just open and honest as possible. And everyone was very sweet and like shared it with their friends and family. And I actually got so many shares and so many people were submitting their applications to the hospital. And um, I felt like really loved at that point. And I posted on Twitter as well. And I just like posted to all like the social media sites that I could that I was like using a lot. Um, and Twitter is the one that succeeded for me because that is where my friend Abby, who is a Taylor Swift fan like me, her and I met at a Taylor Swift concert a few years back. And she and Jordan are cousins. And I know if like Jordan should talk about this or if I should just talk about this part.
Either one.
Um,
Go ahead, Jordan. You want to share a little bit?
yeah, sure. So my cousin Abby, I had tried to donate a couple years ago, and it fell through. And so Abby randomly texted me one day, "Hey, did you ever give away your kidney?" And I was like, "No, why? Why are you asking me this question?" And she said, "Oh, I know this girl, this from Taylor Swift Twitter that needs a kidney." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And she was like, "Oh, she lives in LA." And I was in LA at that point. Um, and so I got Jill's information and sent her a message on Instagram. And yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, no way. Like she messaged me, I remember, and she was like, hey, like, what's your blood type or something? And I was like, oh, positive. And I think I asked her and she's like, oh, positive. I was like, no way, me too. I was like, yes, like step one, check. And then this was February of 2021. I remember. No, what? I swear it was. I used to have.
January.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
January.
Okay, fine, January.
Yeah, I'm
But
pretty sure.
okay. January, February, but I remember I was like, we need it, like, if you want to get tested, that's great. And then she tried to get tested at the first hospital and they didn't allow her to because of her age. And then I ended up switching hospitals because I was like, I have a good feeling about her. I was like, I don't want to like just say no, like give up. I don't want to give up. So is my connection working?
It's a little bit lagging.
Okay.
I think you're back.
Okay. I know, it was so good. What happened? Hang on one second. Okay, what about now? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. And then yeah, I made the switch and then they were like, yeah, we'll take her. Like everything's good. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm really happy it all worked out.
That's great. So Jordan, really, what prompted you to be interested in being a donor in the first place? Like, sounds like there's something happened earlier and then you had this second opportunity. Like a lot of people, especially in our forum and are looking for people that want to donate their organs or be on the organ transplant list. For people. So what was it that prompted you to do that or to have that desire?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how I found out that living donation was a thing. But I was 19 at the time, and once I found out that it was something that you were able to do, I just immediately felt called to it. And I don't really believe in God or anything, but I felt like it was kind of like my purpose in a sense. I felt like I was definitely put on this world to do that. And yeah, I just felt a very strong pull towards it and knew that it was something that I would do at some point in my life. And it just happened to be with Jill. Like I had tested for um I went through all the testing when I was younger and was approved, it was non-directed, had no idea who it was going to. And a few days before the surgery they canceled. And they told me it was due to something with the intended recipient. And I was going back to college like 3 weeks later, and so it was just like the time frame was not going to work out. Um, and so I tested for a few people like over the years. Um, I would just do like the first little like blood sample thing, like very preliminary. And then I found out about Jill, and I honestly didn't think anything of it. I thought it was just going to be like one of the ones before where I tested and like, oh, you're not a match. But it worked out.
That's awesome. I do have to say, point out from the comments, very many people are commenting on your shirts. So can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your shirts?
Okay.
Do you want to
Okay.
go, Jill?
Yeah, we can both talk about it. But I feel like we should start at the first show that we went to together because we went to 2 Harry Styles shows together. And one was when I was on dialysis. And this was before you were approved to be my donor.
Yeah, it
And
was like November of 2021.
yeah. So we made a sign and it said, oh God, I don't remember.
It said she's giving me a kidney, so I brought her here for
Oh yeah, she's giving me
fair trade.
fair,
Question mark.
yeah. And we took the picture outside of the stadium and we were on the floor and like in the pit. So we went in and danced and we were holding it up. We were like, come on, Harry, like see it. He didn't see it. We were like, it's okay, it's fine. And then come December 2022.
November.
My dates are wrong, sorry. We get tickets again, the floor. I'm like, Jordan, we got to make a sign this time. So we both made a sign. I feel like your sign said like the same thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's in my room. It says I gave her my kidney, so she brought me here. Fair trade.
We're like,
So we just,
gotta make, yeah. And then I was like,
changed the verb.
Yeah. And then I made one that said, she gave me a kidney. She gave me a kidney. Pick the name. And so like we both made like pretty big signs. And so we actually got really close to the stage. And we both were wearing pink and looked cute. And we were holding
glow necklaces and stuff.
Yeah, we were glowing. We were like, we gotta make this happen. And then I swear, like he was making eye contact with both of us throughout the night. Like it was bound to happen. And then you said something, I think before
I said to you, it was before, because I mean we got there early so we could be close. And I looked at Jill and I was like, I have a good feeling about it. Like, he's gonna see us. He has to.
Yeah. I was like,
And
don't get my hopes up.
yeah. But he has a certain point in the show where he is like, okay, if you have a sign, then raise it up. And so that point came, and it was like it was clear that he had already seen us prior to us putting the signs up, like at that moment.
Mhm.
So he immediately like came over to us and
What's
he
your
was
name?
like, what's your name? Yeah.
Yeah. And so did he say it to me or to you first? I don't remember.
It was you.
Okay. And I was like,
And
Jill.
then
He's
he was like,
Julie. I was like, Jill. He's like, Julie. I was like, I don't remember how many times he said Julie, but a lot.
and then he
And
was
then,
like, that's
yeah.
Jill. Who's that? And he was
Oh
pointing
yeah.
at me. Yeah.
And then, I mean,
Um,
this video, like it's on, I think
it's everywhere.
it's everywhere. If you Google Harry Styles naming a
Julie the kidney.
kidney or Julie the kidney, you'll find it. Definitely recommend looking for it. But anyway, he talks to us for about 2 minutes and he talks to Jordan and then he talks to me and like he just is so funny and like going back and forth. And anyway, like when he reads my sign, he's like, he says, she gave me a kidney, pick the name. And I was like, of the kidney. And he's like, oh, he thinks that's so funny. And so he's thinking, he's like, I've got it, Julie, because he kept calling me Julie. He couldn't get my name right. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's actually really funny.
It's cute too.
So-
Sam put in the chat 3 J's: Jill, Jordan, Julie.
Yep. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked out like that.
And he's also asking, have Taylor Swift and Harry Styles sent you lifetime free tickets yet?
Honestly,
Unfortunately not.
I
So
know. We're waiting for it.
So when was the very first time that you met live?
Oh yeah. Oh
You're
God.
bad with dates. It's okay.
I know.
It was
Jordan needs to take this one.
Jordan, take
it
that.
was July of 2021. And we had tried like several times to meet just like for lunch or whatever, and it just never worked out, even though we were living like 30 minutes away from each other. And so finally we met for dinner one night. And yeah, at that point I had not done much testing at all. Like we didn't know that I was a match or anything. It was like very early stages of everything. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if Joe like wants to talk more about it.
I was gonna say, I remember like we met for tacos and I just love that place that we went. It's just a great place. But I remember we met and I was like so excited to like talk to her because I just wanted to know like why she felt so compelled to like donate to me and like just get to know her and her story and like just hear her talk. And I was just so excited to just like put a face to a name and like just get to know her. And we were talking, we like were there for a while, and I was just excited to meet her. And then after that, like I was just felt so inspired and uplifted and excited about everything. And I mean, obviously I didn't want to get my hopes up because it was still so early on, but I still remember like the text she sent me after, and she said like, after meeting you, I feel so compelled to like continue the process and like donate to you. Like I'm just like, I was so mind blown, and I just loved, it meant a lot to me that she said that. And like it really felt like it was going to happen, and that was like insane to me.
So from the time that you two started getting the matching happening to when, like, how long was it until you found out that she was a match and that the surgery was going to be scheduled? I think that's a Jordan question.
That's important. I was like, we had talked about this before, and I still get the dates wrong when we just talk about it casually.
Every time, without fail. It's okay though. I was in like contact. Well, so we were at the one hospital, and then they turned me away, and so she switched to another one. So once we got to the second hospital, I started like connecting with them in like July of 2021. I found out in September of that same year that I was a match. But still that was just like, oh, like your blood type and tissue match. And it wasn't until like February of 2022 that we found out that I was like fully approved, and that surgery would be scheduled. So it was a while.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was one thing that like surprised me about the whole process was how long it took. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's different for everyone. I had like, they want you to make sure you get everything done before the transplant. Like I had to get my teeth, I had some gum issues. I had to get my teeth fixed, and I had to make sure they want you to get any kind of like procedure done beforehand because of risks of bleeding or, you know, infections after. So I did have like, that was like a minor setback that took a while. So I mean, I guess it's, you know, my doing, but it does take a while no matter what. So I was like, let's get this done.
Absolutely. So yeah, that brings us to our next question. Like, what else? What was the most surprising thing to you during the transplant process? How long it took? Anything else?
Yeah, I remember that was like one of them for me. And then I think like, oh, and like how smooth my recovery was. I don't know if that's like Jordan's laughing because hers was opposite. But I just was surprised at how fast I recovered. I was like walking really like fast after my surgery and like up and going on walks like right when I got home, and I felt just ready to like go out and be back with the public a lot faster than I thought.
Yeah. So that brings us to you, Jordan. What was the most surprising part for you?
Definitely my recovery. It was insane. I mean, I feel like it's portrayed as, and it usually is, an easy surgery, especially for people who are 23, 24. Like you go into it completely healthy, and so like the idea is that you will be okay. Um, and like I said, I like that's the case for most people, but it was not the case for me. I had a lot of issues right off the bat. I was just very nauseated, and about a week after surgery, I started throwing up. Um, and so I went in like for my follow up, and my doctor ended up readmitting me to the hospital because of my vomiting. And I was there for a couple of days, and then went home. Still wasn't like doing too great, but they were like okay sending me home. Went back for another follow-up with my doctor a couple days later, and she readmitted me directly from the clinic. And I was there for 7 days, and I ended up with a feeding tube and a PICC line. And I had to go home with a PICC line on TPN for about 3 weeks just because I was not able to eat or get any fluids in. So I had to have some form of nutrition. But I mean, yeah, I was told that I'm the sickest donor that they've ever had. And so it was very surprising for everyone, not just me.
Yeah, absolutely. Allie's sharing too in the chat. Allie had a brother that donated part of his liver to her. And she says, my brother was the same way. While most people are fine, sometimes things do go wrong. And I think it's very important for living donors to be aware of all of that and given adequate support for dealing with that. So do you feel like you were given the adequate support that you needed post-transplant, post-donation, Jordan?
Yeah, definitely. My transplant team was wonderful, and they're still like in contact with me, just like checking on me. And like, well, while I was readmitted, my doctor was like coming by, calling me, texting me, just like making sure that I was okay. Social worker was calling, same thing, like everyone. And that continued I mean, it still is happening. Like they still check on me. And so I definitely feel like the support was there. I would not have been able to do it without their support and their kindness, honestly, and their patience. I really felt like they genuinely cared about me and wanted me to get better.
Oh, I love that. And Sam does point out too, these kinds of things are rare for donors, but it does happen. And so I think it is good to be aware of it. But it is definitely a rare occurrence what you experienced. Kathleen is asking, What center did you have your transplant at?
Cedars in LA.
Yeah.
Very nice. Also, I just wanted to point out that we are going to find that video that they talked about with Harry Styles, and it will get posted on the forum, so you can find it. If you can't find it like on Google, we'll post the link on the forum. And then there was something else about the shirts too, like that you had told me earlier.
Oh, yeah, that your friend, Jordan's friend made them, and he made sure that it's the Harry Styles font, which is
Yeah.
like his signature font for just like his, I don't know, his
For his like his merch and stuff and like his tour items, it's the font that he uses.
that he uses.
Awesome. And Terry Ralke, I'm guessing a relative of Jill's.
My mom.
Oh, it's so cute. Hi, Mom. Says, share the name of what you had. I think she's talking to you, Jordan. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I had like a whole slew of issues. It was a bunch of like little things that on their own wouldn't have turned into a big deal, but because it was everything combined, it was a little more of a mess. But I had something called ileus, which is where your stomach acts like it's obstructed when it's not. I had an infection of some sort. They don't know what. I like had a fever at one point. And then they told me like the biggest thing is that my body was just overly sensitive to the surgery and the anesthesia. And like I had never had surgery before, so there was no way for me to know that was, going to happen. But yeah, it was just a bunch of little things that created like the perfect storm.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why we're doing this webinar too is because you guys just passed your first anniversary of this surgery. So, and there's also a special thing about the date. Do you want to tell us about that?
So yes, Taylor Swift's new album has a song called High Infidelity. And when the album came out and it was playing, there's a lyric in there that says, do you really want to know where I was April 29th? And that is the day that of our surgery. So that is forever. And it's like, I mean, that already is like perfect day. Like I'll remember
It's
that day
also
forever. But like, of course, like Taylor Swift happens to mention like that day and whatever songs. Like I'm like, are you kidding me? Like that is crazy.
it's also the day after my birthday.
Yes.
So. She donated her kidney the day after her birthday. So
happy birthday to you. So what made you both really want to share this experience with other people, and especially like in social media and in the public?
Okay. I want more people to donate. I mean, that's just like bottom line. I want more people to know that living donation is a thing. And I also want people to know that even if you do have complications, you can come back from it and you can be okay. Like I want people to see that even if you don't have a smooth recovery, it's okay. And I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. And yeah, I just want people to know that you can come back from it. And like even though I had a really hard time, I was back to running like 3 months post surgery.
marathons.
And yeah, I ran a half marathon 6 months after, and then a full about 11 months after. So I came back from it stronger, and I feel I feel much more appreciative of my own life now after the whole experience.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just like love to spread, like to advocate for people that are going through the kidney process or that need transplant. I need a transplant and want to talk to somebody. I know I love to share my story, and meeting people older or younger that, are nervous or scared. Like I love to like be, someone that they can talk to. And I would love to like share. I just love to, share what I've been through and, have people hear it. And it's important for me to, get the word out, like Jordan said, about kidney donation and kidney, just there needs to be more information out there about it. And after going through it, I definitely think that this is just the most important thing, is just speaking about it, educating, and yeah,
I love
I
that.
love all this.
Yeah. So what do both of you, you can each answer, what do you wish that you had known before the transplant surgery?
I wish I had known how much you use your abs to anything.
Yeah, totally.
I was so surprised the first time I sat up, and it was like, oh my God, like I don't have abs, but like you just use them to literally turn or sit up, standing up. It was just insane.
Yeah. I wish I knew, I guess, about the medicate, like not the how the medication, like the side effects are fine, but like I guess how different, like I didn't even know that different hospitals can prescribe different medication, and I guess how they can affect you over time. I mean, I knew they're necessary, obviously, for transplant, but I kind of wish I knew like there are different options, and but I don't know the ways to get those options.
Yeah.
So
Well, we were talking about beforehand, like some centers, prednisone is a protocol that they put patients on right at the beginning, and then they're able to get off very quickly. Other ones, they're on prednisone for life, and some don't even start off with prednisone. So it's just depending on what that doctor's experience is, because it's not straight across the board for all transplant centers to have the same protocol. So that's
right.
part of what our mission with LifeBulb and Transplant Life is, to start to get some of the research done so that they can have those kind of resources to know what works best for each individual patient.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
I know it is. It totally is. Jordan, Terry is asking you to share how this experience pulled you into your career. You want to expand on that, please?
Oh yeah. So
Oh,
oh
you're
no,
Sorry.
Jill.
okay.
There's planes outside. You deal with them.
So I originally went to school. I was pre-med, and then my first semester I took chemistry, and it's a class that I love, but I did not make an A, and I got scared. And so I was like, oh, I can't be a doctor anymore. Um, and I always knew I wanted to come to LA, and so I was interested in the entertainment world, and I was working in entertainment for like throughout college, and then kind of after I graduated. And I always kind of kicked myself like, oh, I wish I had just stayed pre-med, um, and had gone to medical school. Like I that was something I had wanted to do since I was 6 years old. Like I was like, oh, I want to be a doctor. Um, and I after the surgery and when I was in the hospital, I was like, no, I need to go back to school. I'm not going to be happy with myself if I am not a doctor in 10 years. Like that's what I want to do with my life, and that's what I'm most passionate about. Um, and so now I work at Cedars at the hospital that we had our surgery at. I work in research, and I am starting classes in a few weeks to hopefully apply to medical school in the next couple of years. But the whole experience just really showed me that medicine is what I'm passionate about, and that's what I'm meant to do.
That's incredible. What a way to pull you towards that career. So what's your friendship like now?
Great.
Jill.
Give me Jill.
It's your turn.
I got her that necklace she's wearing. It's
Oh, what is it?
the
It's a
show us,
little
Jordan.
kidney. I don't want to like get super close to the camera, but
It's
it's a
a
tiny little
gold
kidney.
with a J on it.
Yeah.
We are really good friends. We we hang out, we live relatively close. So, I know her friends and she knows mine, and it's really nice to be able to like be like close age and have similar interests, and we hang out, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
I love her.
I mean, I'd say you're one of my best friends now.
Yeah, definitely. Have you been to a concert with Julie? Well,
Yeah.
yeah, post.
At
Yeah,
Harry.
yeah, the Harry concert.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
post
when
after.
That wasn't that? Yeah, that was after.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Sam, I think that when they did the sign, when they named Julie, that was after they'd already had the surgery.
Yeah,
Yeah. But we haven't been to a concert together since then.
not since Harry. Like maybe Taylor Swift. We're
But,
trying.
like, how do you top that concert?
We can't.
Never. Never will.
Yeah, well, no, that's what we were saying. We're like, we don't think we could ever like go to another Harry concert again and like have it be as good as that one, because it was too like
It was just too good.
So good. Okay. Sam's also asking, how do you feel about support groups?
Like to both of us, or
He says J and J.
okay. I really like them. I found there's one on Facebook in particular. It's called Kidney Donor Athletes. And I found that one really helpful. I joined like a couple days before I donated. And everyone in there has been amazing, and like just even if you have a random question, like you can just post it and someone will answer. So I really enjoy the support groups. I feel like it's a good way to like find out information, and just kind of like see what other people are doing. Yeah.
Yeah, Transplant Life shout out support group.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sam, for putting that link in there.
Sorry.
We also had a question from a little bit earlier that I wanted to get back to. Somebody was asking you, Jill, can you get tested for the syndrome? You talked about Alport syndrome.
Just like,
or maybe how do you get tested for it is what I am.
I mean, I got tested through my kidney biopsy. Like my sister got tested through genetic testing. So I think that would be like the only way. Like, I think any kidney biopsy can tell you what kind of, but I do.
I'm sure there's probably some like genetic.
Again, I don't remember like what kind of. Oh, sorry, my connection. I don't remember what kind of like. There's like dominant, X-linked, recessive, and all of that, and I don't remember. My mom doesn't know which one I have, so I would like to know. And there's a way to get tested for that, and I need to figure that out.
Awesome. And coincidentally, I also have Alport syndrome. So
Yeah.
I can answer that question. I got DNA tested for that.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say though.
But I mean, I just wanted to let them know like your experience with it too, because for me, I had a biopsy, but my kidney function was too far degraded to be able to tell what it was. So it wasn't until I got the genetic testing through a clinical trial that I was able to get diagnosed.
And let me just answer that Sam's question. I have a great memory. It's just specific date. Okay, I do.
You do not have a good memory.
Yes, I do. I remember everything anyone tells me. Like you can ask anyone else. I have like such a good memory. Like I could swear on this.
That's so good. Also, I hear Jill and Jordan do a monthly podcast. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. We started it. We have like 6 episodes out, 5 or 6 episodes out, and it's called Cool Beans. And we try to put out an episode every month, but we have been lagging a little bit, but we are getting back on it. And it we bring on guests. The first 2 episodes are about Jordan and I, and then the other ones we have donors, recipients, and so we're trying to expand it into bringing hopefully maybe like doctors and nurses and just people to talk about just kidney related things.
I love that. So people can just find it on
Spotify.
Spotify. Okay. Yeah. We'll have you put a link in our forum when we're done with this, so people can find it and hear even more about your story.
Yes, that would be great. We would love for you guys to listen to Cool Beans.
Just checking to see if there's any other questions that I missed. If anybody else has questions, feel free to drop them in. We've got a couple more minutes.
I'm not a carrier. It is each parent having a recessive gene. I'm so sorry.
Oh, if you see him, go ahead.
My mom.
Oh, Jason Johnson wants to know, what an amazing calling, Jordan. So incredibly selfless. Jordan, don't you also deliver delicious smoothies to recent donors?
Yes. Okay,
Wait,
Jason. Hi, Jason.
What?
Hi, if you're still on. Jason and Amanda, wonderful, wonderful people. Jason just donated almost 2 weeks ago to his sister Jen.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
There's a lot of J's going on here.
Yeah, Jason he's a wonderful person. He's doing great. But I visited him and his sister in the hospital after their surgery. So
yeah.
Well,
and he wasn't eating, so I was like, do you want a smoothie? So I went out and got him one so that he would eat something.
How do you stay connected to people that are recent donors?
The way I find them is Cedars does a donor buddy thing, where they'll connect you with people who are interested in donating, and you can kind of just like talk to them through there. And I've met a few people through that. And then I'm also a mentor for the National Kidney Foundation. And I have a few mentees that none of them have donated yet, but their perspective. Also like from the support groups, just finding people that way. And I met Jason and Jen through Jill, actually, because Jen found Jill.
Jen reached out to me on Instagram to like want to know more about just like my whole surgery, transplant, and everything.
Oh, that's incredible. So Jason, if you're not already, you should register with Transplant Life, because like I said, we've got an incredible forum for people to connect through organ donation.
Yes.
So is there anything else that you would like to tell our listeners before we head out? Any final parting words, maybe for somebody that's thinking about either being a donor or receiving a transplant soon?
If you're thinking about doing it, just do it. Best decision I ever made, and I would do it again.
Yep. And look at me. I'm no longer on dialysis, and she did that for me, and I couldn't have been more appreciative. She's my angel hero. And I love her.
I love you too.
Well, we just feel so honored from LifeBulb to be able to present this with Transplant Life and to hear from Jill and Jordan, your incredible story. I think you both are going to inspire so many people, and hopefully even inspire more people to want to become donors like Jordan. So you will be able to find out the replay for this on transplantlife.com. If anybody wants to, Sam or Ali, if you want to drop the link, transplantlife.com. Underneath the education. In a few days, the webinar will be posted, so you can watch the replay and you can share that with people. We also have a forum on Transplant Life, and there's such an abundance of so many topics. If you have a question, you can search it. And if you can't find it in the search, put in a new topic. We have so many people that just want to respond and talk to you and help support you through whatever you're going through that's transplant related. All right. Thank you so much, ladies. And I hope everybody has an incredible rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.